What up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in. You're listening to For the Record. We are four Black millennials going through the struggle, and we got a lot of opinions along the way. I'm your host, Erica Green, also known as the Podcast Princess, also known as Erica the Stallion.
I'm Darian Stevenson, fine as wine, also known as Darian with a good heart, light bright, mellow yellow, all them little things in there.
Mellow yellow.
Yeah. I am on my absolute best behavior.
Oh, and we'll explain why in a second. And who are you, last but not least, ma'am?
Ma'am.
Oh, me. I am Jo, the very, very proud Beehive member.
Yes, and we'll talk about that in a second, too. So we do have a guest today. If you're watching this, you're wondering who this white man is. Sir, can you introduce yourself? A white man who we love and adore. Yes. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am the only non-Black millennial here, but I will, if you want to call me millennial, that's perfectly fine.
Fine.
I'm Gary Hicks. I'm a professor at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, and I specialize in media law, media ethics, and I think particularly of interest to this podcast is media cultural and critical studies.
Period. Yes. So yes.
Dr. Throw that in there too. Oh, I was just going to say, we've all had him as a professor.
Yes, Dr. Hicks has been our professor at least once time, maybe probably even a couple of times. For me, twice, I think. But he's been our professor 4 times. Wow. He's been a professor at least once while we were in school or still are in school. And we love Dr. Hicks. So thank you, Dr. Hicks, for joining us.
Yo, you're top 3 favorite professors of mine and top 3 white people.
Justin, I am so glad to make both lists.
Yes. Dr. Hicks
really funny.
Dr. Hicks taught our media law class, which me, Darian, and Justin all took. And when I say, if it wasn't with Dr. Hicks and if it was with Justin, if I take Justin and Darian, that's class
I wouldn't have graduated college.
Yeah,
that was a hard class.
But we passed.
I was like, let me give you all this extra credit.
Right.
Because I'm not about to have y'all again.
You all were responsible for all the great work that you did.
Thank you.
I just facilitated it.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that.
Right. I appreciate that.
We made the class fun, too, with all of our antics, too.
Yes, you did.
Right. Oh, girl.
Yo, we was in that class acting up.
Clowning.
We would say something, and Dr. Hicks would be like, here go these motherfuckers.
I remember all the sushi that was brought to class.
Right. What does it Justin say? We be hungry these days.
I would leave because we would get quizzes, and I would leave class because Darian would be like, hey, it's time for sushi, and then we would be done with the quiz, and I would leave class and come back with sushi.
That's how you know we were seniors, because
Dr. Hicks wouldn't say nothing.
The audacity.
Y'all were crazy, but y'all been crazy. I believe it.
Yeah, we were acting up in that class. But also, it is important to note that we are also recording visuals. So we will have a YouTube channel. So if you're listening, if you want to see what we look like, if you don't know what we look like, go to our YouTube For the Record. So just to kick this off. So how are you guys? Dr. Hicks, I'll start with you. How are you doing? Especially being a professor in this COVID situation. How are you holding up? How's life looking like for you nowadays?
I'm holding up better than I had expected. As all of you know, and everyone who's ever had me as a professor, you know that I am something of a neo-Luddite. I really despise technology. And even in class, you know that I refuse to use PowerPoint. So now I'm forced to make PowerPoints with an audio soundtrack. I've kind of understand Zoom at this point. But as I was telling Justin earlier on a phone call, to do what I do best, I need an audience. I don't have one here. And the partner is getting pretty sick and tired of me making him the audience.
Oh, no. You put him to work?
Until he locks his door.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I know.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Sweet of him, at least, though, to sit there and listen to you lecture for 4 hours.
Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah. So, I don't know. As far as me, I've kind of just been, like I've been saying, bored in the house and in the house bored. I have been trying to go outside and like work out at least. But I'm not trying to, be out here when we eventually are able to go outside. I'm not trying to have people have to roll me out. I want to be able to just walk on my own. So, maybe, and not like gain a whole bunch of weight. So I'm kind of trying not to eat all my quarantine snacks, trying to eat healthy, trying to work out at least a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to apply for jobs, but of course, nobody's really hiring right now. So I have like filed for unemployment, but they're taking forever because like 40 million other people have also been filing for unemployment as well. So yeah, I'm just kind of waiting on that and just kind of waiting for this thing to be over. I did read that apparently Missouri, and I don't know if this is true or not, but Missouri is starting to slowly like undo their stay-at-home order starting May 4th. It's like a gradual thing between May 4th and May 31st. But St. Louis City said that they're not going to participate. So I don't know about St. Louis County where I stay, but I don't know. So we'll see. So maybe we'll be able to be outside soon. I don't know. We'll see.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm not going nowhere for 3 weeks. I'm gonna let everybody else be a trial run, and then I'm gonna go outside.
Y'all can go outside if you want to. Hello.
I don't trust it. I'm Black. We don't trust them. Everything is suspicious.
True. Like the vaccine, which we talked about.
Right.
Yes.
It is quite disproportionately affecting the African American community, and there are many, many systemic reasons for that. And these are reasons that need to be addressed long after this virus is over.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
When do you
Well,
think
Darian,
this
how
will
are
be
you?
over, Dr.
Okay.
Hicks? I'm sorry, Erica. When do you
Okay.
think this will be over, Dr. Hicks?
I'm not an epidemiologist, so I really don't have an educated understanding of it, but I would say we have another few waves of it. So it will probably be early 2021, I would say, before this is completely over. Again, that's what I have been reading from Dr. Fauci and other people who, are the adults in the room at the White House. But I don't. There'll be other waves if people open up too fast, if these states open up too quickly, if universities come back together. As much as I want to be in front of a class, if that happens, there will be wave after wave, and so we need to be patient.
Yeah.
Right. And I keep saying too, I'm like, everyone is already talking about opening things back up. We've only been closed for a couple months,
Right.
and we only just like started freaking out about the virus maybe like in March.
Yeah.
So, right. It hasn't even really been that long.
It's too damn early.
Yeah.
It really is.
Look, but people want a haircut. Very serious. Okay.
Hello.
Look at this. Look at this. I'm like a hippie.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But I guess you were going to meet Erica. Not a whole lot has been going on my end other than obviously finishing up school. I turned in my senior portfolio, which, Gary, apparently you're going to be great. You do journalism, right?
I do indeed. I will be one
Okay.
of the people who grade yours, Darian, yes.
Okay, so I might be that annoying person that like every other day, hey, so have you had a chance to grade it yet?
Do it, girl. That's what
I'm
I
just
did.
interested.
I will
I'm
tell you
interested
now
in
that
seeing it.
the deadline for us to get those in is May 5th. With all my other classes, I expect to get that in on May 5th.
Okay, cool. No delay or anything. No, like when I get to it kind of thing. So I appreciate that.
No.
But other than that, like I said, finishing school, I am an essential worker, work in a restaurant. So I'm out here putting my life at risk, delivering food to people's houses and so
And
forth.
not getting paid extra either.
No, I mean,
That is crazy.
I'm getting paid like $7 an hour. So, which before I was getting paid like $5. So, yeah.
Are people tipping well? That's the important thing.
I was gonna ask
So, with this whole new, we were all making really good money in the beginning. Like people were really understanding. So we were getting like really good tips. We would get like, $40 to $50 tips, sometimes like $90 tips. Like we would get really good tips, but we are all splitting them. And now with everyone having to go back to work, per the government or whatever, there's more of us working. So now we're all making less money. So whatever little bit I was able to save is not really going to be the same anymore. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Justin, how are you?
So, I have a boyfriend now.
What did I say? What did I say? What did I say?
It's the same nigga y'all told me about last year who you were like, who I was like, ain't nobody trying to blah, blah. Y'all was like, you're going to date him. And
Right.
like, that's like I have, Dr. Hicks, I was in Panama for a month and a half. Pretty much immediately following graduation, I moved down to Panama and I was living down there. Because of the virus, I had to move back upstate. And pretty much when I got back home, I had to quarantine in my room for 14 days. After which I immediately went to my now boyfriend's house and was like, all right, let's start doing this now. Like, so yeah, and not just in a relationship, like y'all know me because y'all have known me, but like, I'm not even trying to do like an open thing. Like I don't want to do that. And hasn't been my MO in 2 years. I'm always like, oh, let's just involve more people. I'm like, no, just me and you. Yeah, deleted all the little apps, girl. Everything gone.
It's serious.
I was like,
wow.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Imagine me having feelings for another person. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm happy for you, Justin.
Thank you. It's exciting. I wish that this was not going on during global pandemic, so I can go see my nigga more often. But like,
so you can frolic, walk in the sunset hand in hand.
Right, but he worked, and I'm not gonna put him on blast, but he works at a private university, like not far from my house, and like the campus is empty.
Yeah.
So
technically,
you feel
as long as y'all stay like 6 feet apart,
I'm not with that social distancing, on all fronts. You feel me? I'm lonely sometimes. Gee, we're not doing that.
Absolutely.
I'm doing it. I have needs. Thank you. And then I have an interview. This is equally exciting, but in a different vein. I have an interview on Friday for a teaching residency program in District 189, which is East St. Louis School District, because I'm trying to get my master's in education.
And they're doing the best for it.
Because I'm my whole thing is, right, like I'll get my master's degree, like that's fine, but it's like if I have to spend a dime of my own money, no, not doing it. No thanks, don't want it.
I feel you.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully the interview goes well. I think the interview is on Zoom, so that'll be interesting. I've never done that before, but here's hoping for that.
Yes.
You're a good student. You're a good student, Justin. You shouldn't have to pay for a dime of your graduate education.
Oh, thank you so much.
Talk about stipends.
Period. Yeah, and they are now. Okay, real quick question, right? So like, part of the program is a $30K stipend. But I don't know what that word means, nor do I know how it, I don't know how it divides, or like if I have access to all of it off rip, or.
I'm pretty sure it goes by monthly, doesn't it? It's like
but I don't know how it's split.
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea
how
how
that work, Dr. Hicks?
That I'm not exactly sure, but typically it would be spread out, I would think, rather than just in a lump sum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are details they'd have to give you. They probably go over it with you though.
I'm just more so wondering, like I'm assuming they're not going to give me $30K, because that's not a smart idea. I would below that.
Well, you might head back to Panama.
Hello, you would never see me.
Let me tell you something. Justin drives over the new
it would be like you never knew me. But I am wondering, like, if they split it, like, do they put restrictions on what I can spend the money on? Like, can I get an apartment with that? Like,
typically not. It would be up, your discretion. It's whatever you need to survive while you're doing the work.
Yeah. Okay.
But it sounds to me like you should probably keep a job and don't just
for now.
Right.
Well, I have a job currently, right? I'm like,
what I'm saying is, like, if you get a stipend, have a job as well. Though I hear sometimes, though, they say that they don't want you to work while in graduate school.
No. You know?
But
Yeah,
that's not how we are supposed to survive out here.
Yeah, I can't not have a job, bro. Like,
Mm-mm.
I feel you on that. Joe, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on with me? Waiting on my stimulus check. So it's supposed to hit April.
You still haven't got it?
how much are we getting,
April
Joe?
30th, so that's tomorrow.
You
I'm
said
just
how much
waiting
are
for
we
my
getting?
bank account to get stimulated any way it can be. Like, we just want money.
You know what?
Talk about my Cash App is.
Hello.
I hate y'all that got your bank account stimulated. Some of us didn't get stimulated. Okay, some of us
Right.
I'm not stimulated yet, girl. They could still pull the plug. That's scary to think about. I want my money. So
Well, they're not taking back my money. That's going to sit pretty in my bank account.
Period.
I feel.
If I could just get $12.
Can I hold a 20? Can I hold a 20?
A hay penny, something.
No, but
I
aside
hate
from
picking.
that, waiting on that check, I read a book about black hair care, so I have a new hair regimen. We doing.
Oh my gosh, pass it this way. Pass it this way. The book of black hair care. I'm
Your
done.
secrets, chick.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get dreadlocks.
It's a physical book, so you're gonna have to get it at a later date. But I got
Okay,
you
that's fine.
because it's got some good information in it. It talks about washing your hair, what frequency you should do it. It's controversial. I'm gonna be trying to wash my hair
Controversial. Oh.
weekly. Every day, we already know that's not good. That's
Well,
not
hold on. Wash your hair weekly.
Right.
For those that don't know, at least for black hair care, stereotypically, we don't wash our hair every day, every week, like a lot of other people do. It's like once a month, once every other week kind of thing. So so that is controversial. Yeah, that is.
I watched it last Friday.
This is what happens if you wash too much. Yes.
Visual, but yeah, he right. So something about washing your hair, adding a reconstructor in addition to deep conditioning and masks and stuff. So we gonna see what the length is looking like. And it says if your hair is healthy enough, you don't have to trim it.
Okay. I like that idea because I'm pretty sure I get my hair trimmed every time I get my hair straightened. I'd be like, Cherry, take these off.
Also,
this ain't it.
Well, if the limbs, like if the ends are limp and stuff, I don't think we need them anyway. I don't think that's really doing any damage to our hair, but we're going to try to see how long JoAnn can go without trimming.
Okay.
I feel you.
So check hair and, regular same old, working from home.
Good.
That's it.
Okay, period. Also, me and Joe talk frequently about Insecure because we love that show. Season 4 is our thing.
Insecure.
I'm so happy we have cameras now so that you guys can see me rolling my eyes every which way whenever we talk about Insecure. I hate that show so much.
Why do you hate it?
I'm gonna walk that back, right? Because I'm not gonna say I hate the show because I do watch it every week, but I just I don't see how people communicate that poorly every day of their life.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Exactly why you don't like it.
The last episode that happened, Issa and her nigga from 5 years ago are still weird. I'm like, girl, move on.
I mean, but she's an awkward black girl. That's just
and he's so fine.
It's like, okay, you're awkward, but it's also go get therapy to work on your communication skills, Chica. You are 33 years old.
That's true.
That is true.
Our generation, we gotta do better.
Yeah, and let me tell you something about Insecure. That's specifically some older millennial shit. Gen Z folk don't communicate.
We don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not rocking with that. You bump into somebody that you dated 5 years ago, and you're like, oh, hi, this is so awkward. No, it's not, bro. Shut up.
Let me tell you what I would do.
5 years have gone by.
Let me tell you what I would do. And walk. I would get my auntie in and go.
Because you left that ex in the past for a reason.
It's just weird. Now, again, I enjoy the show, and I think there's a conversation to be had about how much critique we give to black television programming because it's so few of them. But at the same time, I'm like, bro, if you're gonna put me on the camera, at least let it be a good representation. You feel me?
I mean, it looks good.
It looks gorgeous.
I like that they're not ashy. That's my biggest concern. They always want to shoot us in poor lighting. Learn how to shoot black skin. It's not that hard.
And they're all wearing lotion, girl.
They're
Like,
moisturized.
It's looking like shea
Absolutely.
butter baby. Yes.
there's a lot of positive things to say about Insecure. I was watching and I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not the target audience for this. Because I was like, I don't get how this is like fun to watch.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, but she gets in really awkward situations, and the way that she dances her way out of it, I can relate.
And
I feel that.
Maybe that's all that matters, is that somebody can relate.
Have you seen that new show on Netflix called Black as Fuck with Kenya Barris and them?
I watched all 8 episodes of that piece of shit in one sitting.
I gave it 10 minutes.
You said that piece of shit.
I do not like it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Y'all remember when we had that conversation about like black capitalism like a couple months ago?
Yeah.
And about how like it seeds my like entire spirit.
Yeah.
Black
Is it
AF,
news, black capitalism?
Black AF is just really colorful black capitalism. And I'm like, I should rob every single one of you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a caricature of how like black people have been represented in the media. I don't know why, but they try to make that happen more. And we don't want that. We're moving forward. We want better representation.
I don't disagree with that at all, but I think it's weird to create caricatures like without the self-awareness that like they're caricatures of yourself.
Right.
Because it's a show about Kenya Barris, and I'm like,
yeah, you're
not critiquing anything if you're living the experience that you're writing about. This is not a critique. Like, if you want to stop, every episode is about him whining about being rich. I'm like, okay, give me $1,000 every second you're sad then, and then we'll fix that whole problem. My Cash App is $chaotic black boy.
It is.
And we can end the whole like you being sad. Oh, I'm so rich. Oh my god. I'm so rich and all the white people love me. Shut up, bro. Like, be quiet.
Well, speaking of black capitalism, that's a great segue to our we're gonna go into our first topic, which is capitalism here. So we're gonna talk about late stage capitalism. Now, I'm gonna be honest. The article Darian sent that I guess was you Professor Hicks presented in class. I read it. It was a lot of big words, so I had to like find another article to break it down. So lots of big words. And I'm a college graduate, but I still like small words every now and then. You know what I'm saying? So the article that I found from The Balance, and basically describes late stage capitalism as a popular phrase that targets the iniquities of modern day capitalism. It describes the hypocrisy and absurdities of capitalism as it digs its own grave. And also it gives examples such as Budweiser spending $5 million to advertise how it donated $100,000 to clean water.
That's so ironic.
And it also says, it says late stage capitalism describes the unrealistic perspective of the wealthiest 1%. In the same vein, it highlights how the middle class is largely oblivious to the struggles of the poor. So, Dr. Hicks, would you like to start our discussion about late stage capitalism and how it applies to, I guess, us in everyday life?
I will be happy to. If you go back to the original writings of Karl Marx, again, Marx is about... I'm getting applause for Karl Marx.
Let's go, Karl Marx. Let's go.
But yes, with the facts.
Justin literally talks about that all day, every day.
Every day of my life.
Well, it's worthwhile talking about almost every day of your life. Give yourself a break every once in a while. It's heavy stuff.
Sure. Absolutely.
But he talks about, this is an economic and political theory at the basics of what he put forward. And he said that all of humanity will naturally follow a particular evolution of our economic structure. And he believed that evolution was based mostly on battles between classes. As I drop my earbud. So he said that, and if you can sort of imagine this, now you have to divorce classic Marxist theory, what he did with Engels, from the really the perversion of Marxist theory that came along with Leninist ideas and what we have seen in other communist countries, because they really do not fit what he considered to be pure communism. But he said that we really begin at a period of primitive communism. And you can imagine historically, when you are a hunter-gatherer society and you live in small communities, you have to depend upon one another. Hillary Clinton a number of years ago wrote a book, It Takes a Village. It really does talk that sort of explains what he was talking about. Everybody pitches in. Some people have talents that other people don't, abilities that other people don't. Everyone works together for the common good. And then that changed when people realized that, hey, wait a minute, we can provide certain resources to people in exchange for their services. So if you look at the period of feudalism, I can say, I own this property. I am a feudal lord, and I can provide you protection, and I can provide you housing if you work for me. So we're really starting to see this beginning of this inequity and this difference between who owns capital and who doesn't. He saw this continuing, obviously, through the Industrial Revolution, where we see massive markets, more people in the dominant class who are the managers working underneath the owners, but on top of and managing the working class. So he saw that this would eventually give out. This system would, because of the inequities and the inequalities, it would eventually give out, and it would lead to that next part of what he called the evolution, which is socialism, which is where government owns the means of production and uses it to the benefit of the public. Ultimately, he said that would move into pure communism, which is where there's no state and there's no classes. We all are just participating as we need to make the system work and to provide for one another. Now, if you take that part that is capitalism, that is also divided into certain sections. Historically, again, we go back to this idea of hunter-gatherer societies, or even the beginning of agrarian societies, that idea that everyone sort of pulled together. Then there was this idea of what they call the merchant capitalism, this idea that, well, I can be an intermediary. I can buy your crops from you, and then I can take them to a market and sell them for a higher price, and I can make a profit off of that. If you look at the history just of the United States, the modern corporation really is a 19th century creation. And what I find many of my students become most interested in and enraged about, I think, is how the Supreme Court, through many, many, many cases, have looked at the 14th Amendment, which was passed right after the Civil War, which is also called the Doctrine of Incorporation, which was written to protect freed slaves in southern states, so that southern states could not come back and say, well, we're going to enslave you again. Well, that Doctrine of Incorporation has repeatedly, through our Supreme Court, been interpreted as giving the rights of human beings to corporations. Now, corporations is it's a term of modernity, and it really goes back just to like the mid 19th century in this country, where someone would decide, well, we need a bridge built, and I need to stop gesticulating with my hands because I'm throwing my earbuds out every time that I do it. But everyone who's had me as a student knows what I do.
Yeah.
We need a bridge built. we need some sort of a water system designed, something. And what the laws would allow would be for people to come in and create a corporation just for that purpose, with extraordinarily limited rights and responsibilities. And as soon as that bridge was built, or as soon as that water system was built, finished, the corporation would dissolve. It would be no more. It was still a significant part of capitalism. People made money by investing into it, but that would be it. Today, we have corporations that live long past anybody who's a worker within that corporation. And when we talk about late stage capitalism, some people will say that, well, we're at the end. If you think back on what I said on Marxist theory about the evolution, we're at the end of capitalism. And for Marx, that would be the next step would be socialism. And some things really don't surprise me about that. Late stage capitalism is really, it has been referred to in recent years as brutal capitalism. The characteristics of it are there's never enough profit. Enough is never enough. And what it takes when you have a philosophy that there's never enough profit, then what do you have to do? You have to make the people who work for you do certain things to increase that profit level that many people would say are obscenities in terms of what you have to do, the type of hours you have to work, the type of restrictions that you have in your work, the choices of what you do in your life. I mean, many people are born into this system today where, unfortunately, no matter, unless they're born into a high class, a rich class, their lives are not this open book. You can do anything you want to. It's very prescribed by the system. You will go to school, you will learn basic skills, you will learn how to follow orders, and then you will go out and you will work for the powers that be, the people who own the corporations. Now, that sounds like a very bad experience, and it is. All you have to look at is certain corporations that are doing quite well.
Amazon?
Yeah, please.
Amazon.
And I was actually going to say, like, in the article, they gives like several examples of, I guess, let's say capitalism. One is Nordstrom selling jeans with fake mud on them for $425. Another one says Congress wouldn't appropriate enough funds to restore Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, but it spends $700 billion with a B on defense every year. And then also Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos has enough money to buy every homeless American a house and have $19.2 billion left over, which we talk about several times.
Right.
On the show.
That is not how it used to be. If you look back at the 50s and 60s, which are considered particularly, they're not the greatest period. Not everyone benefited from the 50s and 60s. But economically, they were very strong decades. Now, some people would say that's because they're coming right out of the war years of World War II. But it was also because there was a progressive and fair tax system where the very wealthy paid a significant amount in taxes. I mean, we're talking rates of 70, 80% above a certain amount. Now that beginning in the early 80s with the Reagan administration and deregulation of that started coming way down. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on whether you consider that you are in this for yourself and your own children, and you feel comfortable just living in some gated community somewhere around, away from everybody else. We see people now who are extraordinarily wealthy who are responding to COVID-19 by living on their yachts in the Riviera for a while.
Absolutely. One more mansion, I'm going to lose my mind.
Right. Or do you believe that we're all in this together, and it's perfectly fine for people who work harder or who are just smarter or more productive or whatever to make more. But that doesn't let them off the hook for contributing to the betterment of the entire society. Now, another part of like capitalism, and Erica, you brought this up in terms of like the Nordstrom jeans, and I believe we talked about a $1,200 margarita that a London bar was selling.
Wow.
But I like margarita. I like that,
I
but
do,
like
I do too.
like,
I'm from Texas. I'm not going to say I don't like margaritas, but no margarita's worth $1,200. Tell me, why do you think they are doing this? It is not so much because it has any great value. It's not worth $1,200. And you're not going to feel $1,200 more enriched by drinking that margarita. You're not going to feel any greater by wearing those jeans, or by buying Louis Vuitton, or by doing anything else. It is a way, just as they use the mass media, to take our attention away from the major issues. If you can be made to believe that you are prospering in this extraordinarily unequal society because you can afford to buy one piece of Louis Vuitton or one expensive watch, or you can afford the monthly payments on a very expensive car, they are making you believe, the powers that be, that you are part of that system that is working. But it's not at all working for you. It is simply taking your attention away from the real inequities and making you feel like, yes, I have a part in this, and see what I have. I have this watch, I have these clothes, I have this car.
Absolutely. So how do you think that the late stage you kind of talked about it a little bit, but especially now with COVID, how do you think the two play hand in hand? Because for me, like I've seen like different celebrities like Oprah, who is super rich, telling other people to donate, and I'm like, God, like what is happening? Like what is happening? So I've seen different celebrities, posting different organizations, like donate to this organization. I'm like, you first, bro. Like, I don't understand why you're calling on us.
I will also say that, like, in the what I've noticed a lot is like it's in the verbiage of like how we talk about people now. Like, like 6-7 months ago, you would talk about a Red Lobster employee, you'd be like, he works at Red Lobster, who gives a fuck about him? You know what I mean? And now, suddenly, beyond being an essential worker, he's now being touted as like a hero.
Yeah.
Which, like, it sounds really, really cute on paper, right? To like call these people who you are forcing to work for the exact same wages. Like it's really cute to call them a hero, right? But then it makes it a lot easier when heroes die, or when heroes get sick, or when heroes can't afford to get their mom's dialysis payments or whatever. Like, it makes it easier to tell stories about these heroes and be like, well, they died for a cause and they died doing XYZ, and like they're so like heroic and brave and blah blah blah. And I'm like, there's nothing inherently brave about working at Walmart or Red Lobster. Like, that's just something that like you should have been valuing before the global pandemic popped off, and then we wouldn't necessarily be in this situation. And it's like, to me, it very much gives like we are still as okay with allowing like workers who are like lower on the rungs to like get sick, die. Like, y'all are a lot more expendable, and we'll do you one better. When you die, we'll deify you and make it seem like we always cared about you. And like, I think that for me, like that's the most prevalent thing I've been seeing, like as far as just like being online. Like, I did see Oprah's whack ass get online a couple days ago. It was like, donate, open your purse.
You first.
But I think the most prevalent examples that I've seen is just simply people who the general populace like did not look twice at 6-7 months ago. Now we're talking about them like they all have like S's on their chests, and I'm like, that is not as cute as it's coded language, all of it.
It is, and it's language that is perpetuated through the mass media. We feel that we use words like they are the frontline heroes, and when they die or get sick, they are the martyrs. So we're somehow saying that we appreciate them just through our words. But what we fail to do in late capitalism is appreciate them through what we pay them. Mm-hmm. Nobody, I don't care what type of work you do. If it is honest work and you're working full time, you should have enough to have housing, and enough food, and enough medical care.
Period.
And we don't. And these are the signs that people who point to late capitalism say is happening. The system is breaking down because we have this extraordinary disparity between that top 1% and everyone else. And if you don't care about bringing everyone else up, then eventually this is going to get so off kilter. It's already off kilter, but so off kilter that according to Marxist theory, it cannot survive. And I will tell you, I'm seeing this even in my students. Each one of you have been my student at different times. Mm-hmm. And I've never asked you personally your belief about this, but when I started teaching 21 years ago, most of my students were very, very conservative. And now I find that most students,
and we laugh.
Yeah, you feel free to laugh. And they're fine. Right. But it is amazing to me how many students now not only consider themselves progressives, but have no problem at all with the socialist label. 20 years ago, that would have marginalized you had you accepted that label.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're just tired of the same old thing. Like, nothing gets better for us. It only ever gets worse. Especially, like, we're college students right now, or, you know, I am about to be done. Y'all just got finished. Like, to us, it's like a small thing because it's like we didn't have money in the first place. But it's about to change, like, dramatically as we, like, get into the workforce and everything. And that's the scary part, really, is, like, are we going to be treated the way we need to be treated and, like, paid for the work that we do? That's kind of scary, especially, like, with journalism and everything. Like, and we all know too, with internships that we've had, we do not get paid.
Slavery.
Yeah, we talked about that as well. Yeah, definitely. Now, Patrick, I will ask you, kind of switching gears slightly, because you are a media professor and you do teach cultural studies in media. So you, you know, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You kind of study effects that media has on society and stuff. Do you feel like this whole COVID-19 thing is as big because of how the media kind of blew up and portrayed it? Do you think, like, it really is just the disease, or do you think, you know, do you think the media actually has a part in just about how big it is, in your opinion?
I have mixed feelings about that. Obviously, it's become the spectacle of the day. It's 24-hour news about it. But just because it has all of the characteristics of a traditional media spectacle, I think it is different. If you look at the numbers, if you look at how this is transmitted, it is very different than the flu, from what I have read. So I don't want to say that the media is blowing this out of proportion. I think that it is extraordinarily serious. I think the problem becomes when you have different sources of media telling different audiences two different stories. And that has always been a problem. You know, we talk about how resonance theory works with people. People naturally gravitate toward those ideas that match their own and then enforce their own. It's natural for human beings to be that way. And that can be dangerous enough when we're just talking about politics, or we're talking about any topic. But once we get into something that is a national pandemic that people are dying from, I now read in the paper today that we have lost more Americans to COVID-19 than we lost soldiers in the Vietnam War.
Right.
Wow.
I saw that reporter had said that was going to be my obsession, actually. Olivia.
Really? Yeah.
Her last name. I had it in my notes, but yeah, she asked him that question. Trump's that question.
But this is really very indicative of the argument about late capitalism, because you hear all of these governors saying and some mayors saying, let's reopen. The president is saying, let's get people going, whatever. What are we doing? We are valuing the economy over human life.
Absolutely.
That in a nutshell is what late capitalism is about. And that's why people say it is the end stage of capitalism.
Right.
I can believe
and that is why I said last week too, I was like, the corporations don't make their money, you make it for them, and that's why they want you to go back to work. And they're like, keep that in mind when you do go back to work. And speaking of also all these like mayors and like governors who are like calling to reopen their states, did you see the Las Vegas mayor?
I was just about to bring that up.
I was like, girl, this lady has no sense of responsibility for her city and has no plan for social distancing and says, and I quote, "That's not my job."
Yeah.
But it is. Like, you are representation of your city. And I was like, y'all know I was embarrassing my mayor. But I was like, I'm embarrassed for Las Vegas right now. Like,
yeah.
It just blows my mind to be like, we should open, we're not broken. It's not about like being broken. It's about making sure people don't get sick and that it doesn't spread. And she like was not in any way informed, nor was caring about any precautions or anything for people when opening back up casinos. She was just like, it was a terrible interview to watch.
It was a terrible interview. She was pretty much giving all of the responsibility to the casino owners to make sure that there was social distancing and disinfecting. Well, they're in it for the money, for the profit. Right. That's the most important thing. So they're not going to be concerned. Right. And it's also a characteristic of late capitalism for the corporate structure not to take responsibility. We see the president of the United States coming out and saying, after thousands of people around the country called and thank God they did, called their poison control offices to see whether drinking Lysol was actually a good thing to do.
Dummy.
And he goes, and the president says, I'm not responsible for that.
It's almost like the president doesn't remember that he's being recorded when he says these things, because then he'll like go back and be like, oh, I didn't say that. Sir, I can I can pull up on YouTube when you said that. And
he doesn't care about what he says. He does not care about the repercussions of what he says. I don't care about people. Oh no, he's just getting money or whatever he's doing.
There's a really interesting thing that I've been thinking a lot about, like in terms of late stage capitalism, like as it relates to like climate change. Because like when these theories were being formed, right, like it was all under the assumption that like we would go through phases and like the ending of one phase is not necessarily the ending of everything, but like the rate at which capitalism has been accelerating and like the effects that capitalism has had like just on the like literal global climate, like how global warming is like very like directly linked to the acceleration of capitalism, like coal mines and like industries and all the other bullshit. Like I get really scared sometimes because I'm like, I don't really know if we can be looking at this as an end to a cycle, and it might just be the literal end. Like the UN has come out several times and told y'all, hey, listen, y'all got about another decade to stop putting all that bullshit in the air before we can't do nothing else about it. But like Dr. Hicks has already said, like there is a prioritization of capital, literally, over the lives of human beings, which I feel like at some point is going to cost us our planet. You know what I mean? Like obviously the planet is going to be fine because the planet has been fine before and it will be fine after us. But I'm just like, it makes me nervous because I'm just like, like it might have been a cycle when Marx wrote the theory, right? Like there might have been room for it to go in a cycle or to go into a different phase now. But I'm like, I don't know that we can sustain even getting to the next phase. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know if we have that much time.
We have an opportunity now. And I am not an expert on this. I don't know how much time we have. I know a lot of scientists are saying that we are the last generation that can do anything about it. But if you just look, it's to take an absolute tragedy of this many people dying and getting ill from a pandemic. But if you look at how the Earth is healing itself during this time when we have stepped back,
Right.
this does not mean that we don't want to come back and resume lives, but this really does give us an opportunity to say maybe we can start in a different way that respects the climate, because ultimately, I mean, that's another characteristic of late capitalism: complete disrespect for the environment.
Right.
Pull out as much as you can to make as much profit as you can, which is absolutely not sustainable in anybody's mind. In anybody's mind.
It's absolutely not
I would say if there was like something that we like participate in as far as like, I mean, we probably obviously do a lot as far as contributing to late capitalism, but one thing is so true, like mass production is terrible for the environment, and yet I'll probably never stop shopping at Forever 21, and that is so sad.
All that fast fashion, I'm told that's bad for the environment, because we just buy it and we throw it away. Like, that's not getting recycled.
Anything that we like produce in like these big masses, like we're the problem, because we keep buying those things because we want those things, but we're never going to stop.
We're in a spider web, you feel me? Because it's like we can sit up here and recognize all of the ill effects that like it has on like the environment and us as people or whatever, but like then it's marketed and I'm like, damn, I would look cute in that sweater though.
Tell me about it.
They appeal to your senses.
Yeah.
Communications people, we know how
and
to do it.
It's tricky, I think, even for us, like us being like the common folk, or like the people who are like not of the 1% of the wealth in the world. It's like it's really hard for us, because I'm like, I think a part of capitalism is telling the people on the bottom, like, oh, like you can't do shit about it anyway, so shut up. You know what I mean? Like, and so like every other day I'm like, like this sucks, but I can't do a damn thing about it anyway, because like I don't have no money to fix, I can't do anything about it. But it's like if we all
other than having like a protest, like we really can't do too much to fix it.
Hey, listen, girls, if you ever need a protest, a demonstration, I got pitchforks on Deckington, bro.
That is your guy. That when it comes to a protest, you ain't got to tell Justin twice.
Right, you ain't even got to get it halfway out the sentence. I'm like, okay, cool. Are we ready to pop off? Let's go. Let's do it.
We're gonna burn some buildings down.
But short of that, which is like I'm waiting on y'all to get over there, and that's fine. But like short of doing that, like Dr. Hicks said, we have to start looking at this moment in time right now and being like, okay, cool. So when the clubs open back up, right? Like when y'all can go get your nails and your hair done and everything did, like when you niggas can go get linings again at the barber. We need to really start thinking about, okay, when we re-enter society, how do we want the re-entrance to look?
It looks like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Because it won't look the same.
I was just saying, like, thinking out loud, if it was organized enough and you got, like, a lot of people to participate, and I don't know how that leadership would look, we could really change how that looks re-entering society.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know what people are going to do? Cooperate.
What?
They're not.
Never.
They want that haircut.
But
it's
everybody's
too comfortable.
concerned about just making money and spending it. That's the whole reason we got these stimulus checks. It wouldn't matter anyway. Even if we opened it up, we would have to be the ones to orchestrate that, because the government's not going to. They want us to start spending money.
We should all.
What the government does to leaders.
We should all rob Elon Musk.
You want to rob this man so bad.
God,
I want to rob Elon Musk so bad. I just want to catch him outside one time.
Not Jeff Bezos? Not Jeff Bezos?
They can both get God, girly. Like it's whatever. If I catch Jeff Kisses online ever, like out in these streets, if I ever see Bill Gates in real life, if I ever see, what's the other girl's name?
Oprah?
Not Jeff Bezos, the other white man.
I said Bill Gates.
No, not Bill Gates. It's another one.
There's so many.
Elon Musk. If I ever see that rodent face Elon Musk out in these streets, I'm running his pockets.
You know he got bodyguards. If Beyonce has Julian, you are not touching him.
And let me tell you something. After we rob all the other white men, I unfortunately have to rob Beyonce and her husband.
I was just getting ready to say, if you catch Jay-Z and Beyonce out here,
I don't want to have to do it, girl. I really don't.
But opportunity.
I don't want to have to rob the Carters. I love Lemonade.
First of all, Jay-Z is from Brooklyn. I promise you, if you try to rob Sean Corey Carter, you will not be successful at all. He is from Brooklyn.
Beyonce Noel's husband. That is how he is.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I have a very long list of all the white people who deserve to get robbed first. But like after that, we gotta come for the black girls. It's just
capitalism is capitalism too.
Thank you. Like y'all are part of the problem.
Oh my God.
And then I'm giving all the money away to everybody else. Like
okay, Robin Hood. All right, Robin Hood. Go for it. But not me though. You know, I don't do well in jail.
You ain't got but $10, Erica. Don't even trip.
No, I said I'm not going to help him. He said we. I said, who is we? I ain't no we in this robbing.
What Erica will do is Erica will make a lovely protest documentary about the events.
Period. Right.
So you had something? Did you have something?
Yeah. No, I was just saying I had the plan.
Oh, my fault.
To rob everybody in mind. We'll talk about that later.
Oh my God! Okay,
I got you when we get off the podcast.
The least I'm gonna do is be the drive-away car. Don't ask me to stab nobody or nothing.
Don't ask me to stab.
I don't want no parts. I don't want no parts. No parts.
If I'm involved, no one will ask me any questions whatsoever. So
that's true.
There you go,
Gary.
Period.
There you go. I knew Gary was down. I knew he was. Yeah.
Hey, he's
unearned white privilege.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Dr. Hicks, do you have any parting words about like capitalism that you want to say to wrap this whole topic up?
Just for people your age to understand that you play a much larger role in life than being worker bees to make somebody else rich.
Wow.
Yeah. And always understand that. And if it takes, foregoing something or making some material good or not paying attention to media when they're trying to distract you from the real issues, do it. Don't be afraid to do that. And just to be your authentic selves.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you. This is why he's our favorite. This is why he's our favorite. This is why we mess with him. So Dr. Hicks has got to go, but before he goes, he does have an obsession that he wants to share. We normally say for the end of the show, but he wants to share his obsession. So Dr. Hicks, what is your obsession?
I'm sorry I can't stay for the rest of the period, but well, it shouldn't come as a surprise. But most gay men of my age, our obsession is Judy Garland. And I would recommend, even though she has been gone for us for more than 50 years, if you want to just feel good about yourself, if you want to understand if you want to understand the human struggle, if you want to understand how to look out for yourself when nobody else is going to, and to say to hell with them, listen to some Judy sing, please.
Wow.
Period. Okay.
I will remember that.
I was expecting, but I was not expecting.
Me neither.
Yes, I love that.
You guys probably wouldn't also expect him to what is that show that you love, Gary? It's a cartoon.
Well, I love South Park, yes.
Well, not South Park, but yeah.
And you love
the Boondocks. I love the Boondocks. Yes.
The Boondocks.
I feel very guilty about it because I don't belong. It's like cultural appropriation. But it's a brilliantly written show. It really is.
Do y'all remember that episode of the Boondocks? Do y'all remember that episode of the Boondocks where Riley had the white teacher and he was like, I don't say nigger, I say nigga.
That sounds like some Riley shit.
No, well, don't feel guilty about that. And if it comes back like they said it's gonna come back, watch it with pride. Watch it.
Period. We'll have watch parties at Dr. Hicks's house.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hicks, for joining us.
It is my pleasure. And just know I think the world of all of you.
Aww. We think the world of you too.
Thanks the world of you.
I'm going to wait until you're off the phone so I can cry.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you for joining us.
Take care.
Yes. So, moving on to our last topic,
Foursquare.
I do want to say before you jump into that, did y'all notice me having phone troubles for at least?
Yes. I was like, Darren, we can see you. Oh
I was trying to telepathically be
Right.
like, stop moving.
Darren, you know how like your mom gives you the look? I was trying not to give you that look because I'm like, Darren, we can see you.
But like for some reason, my phone charger stopped working.
Oh.
And my phone was about to die, and like I think it's the box because I had charged it earlier, or so I thought. And then the shit started.
Darren, I did listen.
There was so much going on, and I was looking at Darren. I was like,
me too. I was trying to make sure my face was fixed for the camera, but I was like, Darren, we can see. Do you not know we can see you? We can see you.
No,
okay.
She texted us though. I had to let her in a whole different way. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it done.
I'm sorry about that. I was having phone problems.
Technical difficulties. Well, moving on to our next topic. I was out here looking at BuzzFeed quizzes because I like BuzzFeed quizzes, and I found a really interesting one. Now, I think me and Joe are the only ones here in this group who actually want to get married and believe in marriage and all that stuff. So at first I was like, it's a marriage quiz, and I'm going to tell them about it. But honestly, these are some unpopular opinions about marriage that are really like juicy. That they're kind of a couple of head scratchers. So I was like, nah, I got to show them this. So
are we going to go through the whole quiz?
Probably not. I'll read a few of them, and I'll
six or seven of them.
I'm gonna bring it up just so I can follow along.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read a few of them. We're just gonna say our opinions. The first one, just off rip, just deep off rip. I don't believe soulmates. Agree or disagree? I agree.
Multiple, in fact. I don't know why. It's just because when I fall in love, I'd be like, you the one. You is my soulmate. And I don't even limit this to romance, actually. Because I feel like my ex-best friend, she is really close to me. I feel like friends can be soulmates, too.
Yeah, you can have platonic
sexual or romantic or anything. But yeah, I believe in soulmates.
Right.
Okay.
I think there's more than
and
one.
I also, sorry, really quickly, I believe in twin flames, too, if you ever heard of that.
What's that?
Twin flames? It's like... where you guys, it's similar to soulmates, but I think that's strictly platonic. Like, you and another person, you just vibe so hard.
Got it.
Okay. I think I wholeheartedly mostly believe in that one because, like, I think you can keep a friend longer than you can keep a relationship because usually, I'll say that. But, because, like, I have had a friend for 7 years that I know is not going anywhere versus, like, Tyler and I, like, and I know we want to be together right now, but we don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now. I know my friend is probably going to be forever.
Exactly. You hope for the best.
Right.
It really is up in the air.
Yeah. So what about you?
Do I believe in soulmates? Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Do I believe that there's only one for everybody? No, probably not. Because like there's 7 billion niggas on this planet right now. And it's like the chances that you find that there's only one person on this planet who is right for you is horseshit. That's just not how this works.
Right.
There is that. And I also think with soulmates, like, you can find one, but I don't think that's necessarily, like, the person you gonna be with. Like, I feel like there might be multiple. Like, I feel like, maybe this is an unpopular opinion. Like, my first boyfriend, I feel like he was a soulmate for me. But I also feel like Stacey's also my soulmate.
He was not the soulmate.
Together for a long time too, weren't you?
5 years.
Right.
Oh yeah.
In a Lawrence relationship.
I was just about to say that.
Thanks. Beat you to it. You can't get me if I clock myself.
Oh, period. That's a word. So the next one is you shouldn't take your spouse's last name. I think it depends. So like for me, because we're in media, right? So, like, what if I pop off as Erica Green, right? Like, there's different celebrities who do it different ways. Like, some people, they use their name, like their maiden name, as like their stage name, I guess.
Right.
And then there's some people who hyphen. There's some people who just completely change it, like Tia Tamara Mori Housley. But yet Adrian Bailon, she's now Adrian Houghton, and it works for different people. But I think especially if I wasn't in the field I am, I would say yes. But for me, it's like I don't know, because if I pop, like, I don't have a stage name. I haven't came up with a stage name for myself yet. So if I pop up as Erica Green, if I pop up as Erica Green, like, and I done all this work under Erica Green, like, I did that. Erica Green did that. Erica Johnson didn't do that, or whoever. You know what I mean?
That is precisely how I feel. If I finish my master's degree, when I finish my master's degree, if I go on to get a PhD, that's Dr. Weaver.
Come on, Dr. Joanne Weaver.
That's Dr. Weaver. Hyphen somebody else. If you lucky. If I fuck with you that day.
If I like you that day.
I feel like, honestly, this is just personal preference, and that's mine. Just like what Erica said, all this hard work that I put into my craft, my last name, put on that.
All the hours. All the hours.
It's going to come over and take the credit.
All the tears. What?
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Darren.
I was just going to say, I think it depends on the person. Like, this is how I would think about it, and this probably sounds really shallow, but I agree with everything you guys just said. But I would also keep in mind, like, if my last name sounds better than someone else's last name. You know what I mean? Like, on paper. Like, what if my last name is Greeden Bugentag or some shit like that? Darian Greeden Bugentag?
Can I just tell you?
Sound right. It doesn't flow. Darian Stevenson sounds perfect. It sounded great for 23 years now. I'm gonna leave it at that. So I don't know. Like, say if for some reason Tyler and I did get married, Strable, I think that flows.
Strable.
No, it's not too different. Whereas, like, I just would need it to flow and sound right. See, my last boyfriend was Walter, and I was like, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Walter's a good. That's a meteorologist name.
Yeah, like, you're reporting the news if you're Darren Walters.
Darren Walter reporting live from the ghetto.
So no, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna. I would probably also want to keep mine, because, like, what if for some reason, like, I would probably do like a hyphenated. What if for some reason, like, my brother has all girls and I have all girls? Like, I want some of my kids to maybe have my last name.
Right.
That's how I think about it. Like the idea, I think, of, like, taking someone's last name is like you're, like, changing from being to this family to that family, which some people see it that way, but I would just I think it wouldn't really matter.
With the hyphen, I feel like me and this person are coming together.
Right.
They're going to have both names. The kids will have both names. That's also why I like the
rather than feeling like you're letting go of one family and adopting another.
Exactly. Yeah. What about me?
Yeah. Jessica, what about you?
So when I was going through this quiz, I just disagreed to anything that said people should or should not do a certain thing, because I'm like, I don't know what you do. Like,
it's personal preference.
It's 2020, and it's like, if you want to take your nigga's last name, take your nigga's last name. If you don't want to take your nigga's last name, like, don't take your nigga's last name. If you want to take your girl's last name instead and, like, switch it up, I think that would be dope, but, like, do it whatever. I think what people should do is decide what they want to do for themselves, and not necessarily because, like, what society or their mama and daddy told them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that should be a thing that you and your partner sit down and be like, what is it that we want to do? What I've heard in the recent years is, like, people coming together. This happens particularly in, like, gay relationships, like people coming together and, like, making up a completely new last name, which I find to be super dope. Like, they'll either mash their two last names together, or, like, create something completely new, and, like, it signifies, like, the creation of a literal new union, you know what I mean? Which I find to be quite beautiful. I might cop that, like, when I get older. I might do
it.
I love it. If you love it, I love it.
Right. If you like it, I love it. Right. So the next one is marrying your high school or college sweetheart stunts your emotional growth.
That just depends on the person. Like, I think.
Like, are you with a person that stunts your emotional growth?
I can see why they would say that, though, especially high school, because who you are when you graduate high school is not who you are when you were our age, 30, 40. So I can see that, and that's honestly why you see people who married high school sweetheart divorce, because, you know, when you get married to your high school sweetheart, apparently, eventually you're going to, like, grow apart and want different things, become different people. So as far as high school, I could agree with that. I can see why people will say that. College, you graduate college at like 23, 25, like, and you know, at that point, you're you know, a little more of who you are. I think it just, I can see why people would say that, though. So I could agree. I can see why somebody would say that.
I think everybody's process is different, though. Like me, like some people mature very quickly and some people don't. Some people like love who they're with and don't really want to change that, or don't want to lose that person, or want to, or do see a vision of a future with them or whatever. I don't think it's like fair to say that it stunts your growth, because everybody grows in different ways. But it's different for each person. Like, I know if I were to marry my high school sweetheart, I would probably be miserable. And not saying that towards him, because like I didn't ever get any experience to get to know any other people. I didn't ever get to have any guy friends, you know, that I was close to or anything like that. Like, I could see that for myself, but everybody's different. People who did get married or are getting married after being together for 7 years after high school, like, that works for them. You know, it just wouldn't work for me.
Yeah.
I actually discourage heavily from dating the same person, marrying the person that you dated in high school. Like, I am heavily against that, because it's like, I do think it stunts your emotional growth, but like, I think even further than that, like, I think it's really just like, so you lived 17 of your life, of 17 years of your life, and you decided after those 17 years, you're like, this is the only one that I am going to want for the entirety of my life. Again, with that whole like soulmate thing, and there being 7 billion people, there's no way that you got to be 17 and was like, you know what?
This is it. I found the one, shorty.
I know I grew up in this
there are
small.
people that are like that, though.
I know I grew up in this small cornfield of a town, and I know that we're both only going to work at the steel mill for the rest of our lives, and we're never going to see outside of the barriers of this county. I just really feel like I found this one, and you marry him. You're so dumb for that. Like, I know that it's all. I know this is all personal preference and whatever, but it's just it's like, I know for me, right? I'm like, I really love the girl I dated in high school, and like that was a beautiful time for me or whatever. But I'm like, the people who I dated after that, and the person who I'm dating right now, like, they add to your experience, and they literally make you a better person as long as you are paying attention and like taking the lessons. Now, here's the caveat. If you get with this one person in high school like a dummy, and y'all sit down and you're like, okay, like, we're going to learn these lessons that we would learn from other people from each other, like together, and we're going to continually build on this thing. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, did it happen for the vast majority of the time? No.
Nope, not at all. Especially when you're going over here, especially when you're at this school and he's at this school, and then like, yeah.
It's all bad, and you know what? Like, I will say a lot of times when people get married out of high school, it's because A, the dude is going to the military, or B, the chick got pregnant like a dummy because y'all couldn't be bothered to spend $13.50 on a pack of condoms.
She could have wanted it.
Y'all had so many options to do, like. And you chose to have the baby, and you know your Catholic parents were like, well, you know, you have to get married if you're gonna. And now look at you, stupid,
sad, miserable. Yeah.
So I feel like it's not for most people, but I will definitely say it's not for me.
Yeah, I can see why somebody would say that though. So I guess I agree. I see why somebody would say that. Yeah. So did you say your opinion already?
Huh?
You say your opinion already?
I don't think so. I just kind of interjected with like my immediate thought, which wasn't smart. Me personally, I wasn't allowed to date in high school because my parents were like, "Oh no, fuck that." And even so, everybody was dusty, so I really didn't want to date nobody. So
hindsight, yeah, they were. In hindsight, they absolutely were. Everybody was dusty in high school. Everybody.
I was dusty, but everybody else was too. We were all dusty, but it wasn't equal playing field, if you know what I mean. Nobody deserved it.
Period.
But college, nope. Glad I didn't do it. Glad I didn't say yes. I'm different now. I would not have been happy. Gay as hell.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I say no. Life's a learning experience. Don't go what first offered to you. You got options, girl.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next one is something that I feel strongly about. This one says, there's no set amount of time you should have to date before you get married. No, because you ain't gonna have me out here being a little girlfriend for 5, 6, 7 years talking about this. No, I'm not doing that. Nope. So I say, I mean, so I disagree with that. Now at the same time, like, is it like you have to date for 2 years and we'll get married? Like, no, like we pick our own pace, but at the same time, you ain't gonna have me out here just being your girlfriend for years and years and years, and we're not married. You got messed up. So I disagree with that. There is a set of time, meaning in my opinion, there's too much time. There's too little time and there's too much time. Like
7 years is too much.
Yeah. So I
know the relationship if we're not married at that time.
Right. So I definitely disagree with that. There's no set amount of time you should have to date before you get married, because some people take that and they use that to their advantage and they just run with it, and then that's why you see like, oh, you've been together for 6 years now. We have this, but we're not. For me personally, because I want to get married, but this is my opinion. No. You ain't gonna have me out here in that situation.
I missed the first part because you cut out, Erica. What was the unpopular opinion?
So this one says there's no set amount of time you should have to date before you get married.
There is no set amount of time.
There really isn't.
And there is no set date for when you should be married and when you should have kids. I stand on that. I could literally, if 10 years from now I change my mind and I want to get married and I've been with the dude for 8 years, I guess that's my opinion and that's when I feel that I'm ready or whatever. But like, I think that if you feel as a person that you don't want to wait that long before you get married, then that might not be the person for you, because it sounds like they're not ready for that type of commitment.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everybody's different. And like me and Justin here, I feel like we could probably be with our significant other for 40 years and then decide we want to get married. It really does not matter. It's like, whenever both people are actually ready. And I think what sucks about marriage or engagements really is the pressure to get engaged and to get married. That's what really also ends up ruining a relationship, because the girl's like, you got me waiting 7 years. That's not cool. Then that probably shouldn't be the person that you're with, because now he feels like he should propose to you, but not for the reason
because he wants to.
Proposing to you.
Yes, and let me make this clear. Like you said, for me, because I know that's something I want, I will be with somebody who wants to get married now. Because I don't want what I call a shut up ring. Don't give me a shut up ring. I don't want it. Like, if you are only proposing to me because you feel like that's what I want, I don't want it. Right. So for me, like, I will be with somebody who is cool with, we might date, depending on how old we are also, because the older you get, the less time you typically wait for that kind of thing. We might date 2, 3, 4 years, and then we'll get engaged. We'll build ourselves up personally, business-wise, financially. But we have like a goal in mind, you know what I mean?
And I feel like depending on where you are in your relationship, like if you guys are close and can talk about anything, like Tyler and I probably weren't even together for a year when we're like, we don't want to get married. That's a conversation I feel like that's normal for couples to have early on in a relationship. Not like the 3rd or 4th date, but like maybe a couple months into the relationship, so you know where you stand.
I ask anything at any time, because I'm like, if I'm dating,
go for it, Joe. Go for it.
I mean, if we gonna make this let me know up front everything. Like, is this a friend?
I'm not mad at that.
Like, what are your
thoughts? What you're saying.
I like to see the mindset.
It wouldn't necessarily be fair for me to be with someone and then not tell them for a few months, like, hey, I don't want to
be like, aha.
Like,
sorry to drop that on you.
Some time.
Now, I will say, so I agree and disagree with the statement, right? Because I do not think that there is like a cap. Like, I don't think there's like an upper limit of like, this is, if you've been dating for this amount of time, like you should absolutely be married. I don't think that. However, on the other end, you should not date a nigga for 6 months.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You should not date a nigga for 6 months. And then after that 6 months, be like, you know what? We should legally
be bound to each other.
Bind our funds and our properties together. You are stupid, is what you are. You are not in love. You are stupid, and you might be smoking crack. But I think for me, I'm like, okay, after a year, y'all can do whatever you want. But I'm like, before a year, don't say any words to me that start with the letter M. Don't say nothing. Don't talk to me about money, marriage. Don't talk to me about monkeys, girl. Don't talk to me about like milk. None of that. I don't want to entertain the like marriage conversation. Now, me as the anti-marriage person, I'm not.
That's why.
Don't ask me squat. Period. Because the answer is going to be no. Not doing that. Stay away from me. But I'm like, when I look at other couples, like I've watched couples get together. Like I have a homie of mine who dated this nigga for like maybe 9 months.
Nah.
And came to me and was like, yeah, we're gonna get married. And I was like,
okay.
And asked me if they're getting divorced now.
Are they?
Yeah, of course they are.
How long have they been married?
Only like a year and a couple days.
Well, because it's important to know, like, especially anything less than a year, you're technically still in that honeymoon phase. So you think everything that person does is cool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Be together for a couple years. And
a couple years.
Live together.
Live together.
To see if you can live together. Because, like, when I tell you, Tyler and I, like, living apart and then living together, whole different game.
I was having a conversation with my mom yesterday, like, because, you know, my mom is Christian, and like Christianity doesn't allow for that, especially like Black Christianity doesn't allow for that, like shacking up thing.
Absolutely.
And like she's like very anti it and whatever else, and I'm just like, how you date a nigga and get engaged to a nigga and then marry a nigga without ever having lived with him first? Like,
and that's crazy.
You don't know if his feet stink. Like, you don't know if you don't care for the way he like walks in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't know about whether or not his breath is going to be stinky when he goes to bed or when he wakes up. Like, you don't know.
Joe, your grandparents, they did that, right?
My parents did that too.
My grandparents did that. I think my grandma, she stayed with her mom until she like met my grandfather at church. She was like 1 to 3 days or some shit. She was like,
at church.
Yeah. And then after he asked for permission and they got married, then they lived together. And the same exact thing happened with my mom and what happened with my dad. She lived in a house full of her 7 other brothers. I don't know what the math is. My grandma was popping them out. So she was staying there, and she was like, I'm not going to leave until somebody proposes to me and prepares an apartment for me so I can go live there with the nigga. And I was like, you don't want to test drive? I don't know what it is about us, but we want to know what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah.
Because we're smarter.
It's a generational thing, I feel, because my parents did the same thing, and I've talked about it on previous episodes, because I'm kind of in the middle at this point now about where I stand with that. So I don't know. But you know what? This isn't on the quiz, but I wanna kind of bring this up. How do y'all feel about asking for permission? Like the guy asking the dad for permission. Bogus.
I can't.
Absolutely not. Ask permission to do what and why.
So here's the thing.
There would be no permission.
So here's the thing.
That would be funny to watch.
So here's the thing.
These nuts in your mouth, nigga.
No. So here's the thing. 2 things. Number one, I feel like it's different. The whole asking for permission thing is different now as it is back then. Now it seems it's more about like a respect thing, you know. So like it would probably look a little fishy if you're trying to marry my daughter and you didn't even like tell me you're gonna do it, you know. But back then, like women were seen as like a literal property. It was like I'm trying to be in business. I'm trying to be in business with Justin. So Justin's daughter's gonna marry my son. So me and Justin can be in business together. Like that's how it was.
What did you say? A business transaction. That's
right. And Holmes really gave his daughter away for 2 fat pigs. Like, too. He was happy about it.
So I don't know. So I mean, like, for me, if the guy did it, cool. If he didn't, like, I'm not, because some girls, honestly, I know some girls are like, if the guy doesn't ask my dad, I'm not marrying him. It's not happening. For me, it's just like, if he does, great.
It's not his decision. So why ask me?
Now, here's what I would do. Here's what I could see myself doing is just like, I could pull mom and dad to the side. Because what I'm not finna do is go to the daddy, like, by himself. Because I'm like, I don't really care about you.
Like him.
Yeah, I don't care about you, sir. But I will come to mom and dad together and be like, hey, just so y'all know, I went to Jared's. And I, would like to marry your child. Like, or no, rather, I'm going to marry your child.
So you're not asking.
You're telling them.
I'm not about to be entertaining conversations, girly, because it's like, I'm grown. I'm going to do what I want.
Follow-up question.
What?
Would you pull them to the side, like, before or after?
You have to do before.
Before or after what, Joe?
Proposal?
Like, if you're not asking for permission and you just telling them, are you telling them before or are you telling them?
I would tell them before. I would just because I try to keep people in the loop, and I'm like, I don't want you to be like surprised. So I'll be like, like, BT Dubs, I'm probably gonna propose soon.
I think it would be a fun surprise, do like almost like a gender reveal to like reveal to your parents or whatever that you're getting married. Like I feel like it's not their life. They have no say. Because like then what if he asks and they don't like him and they say no? That's not going to change anything for me or for us as far as I'm concerned.
You're completely right. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So the next one is people should always get prenups.
I don't believe in prenups.
I don't like the word always.
Okay, fine. People should get prenups. It is fine. Actually, Justin, I got you. It is in your best interest. It is in your best interest to get a prenup. There you go.
Because at the end of the day,
I
one
agree.
person is still going to get child support even with a prenup.
Well, you can actually work that out because prenup, you can literally, if you want to write down everything, like your prenup can be as detailed as you want it to be. So like you, even like with the whole child support thing, you can like work that out in your prenup to like,
I could just be like, you don't get my book money, but I guess we could split the couch or something like that.
Actually, you know what? I'm changing my entire answer. I am actually in support of a prenup because
me too.
I do not view marriage as having to do with anything other than property and money. Like I don't view it as a love thing, whatever.
That's the difference.
It's a business contract, right? And I think if you're going to do good business, you should make a good business contract. So I actually do think it's a really good idea, and I'll say that I'll change my entire answer now. I do think it is always a good idea for all couples to get a prenup for marriage because it don't have nothing to do with y'all being in love with each other. Y'all are signing a contract to see who gets whose property when whomever dies first, right?
I thought that'd be in a will or whatever.
It can structure itself like a will though, right? Because and you can put in the prenup. Hey, if you are fucking people on the side and I find out about it,
I get all your money.
Major deduction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I think if you are looking at it as the like financial decision as it is and less about being like, oh well, we should just be in love. It's not about being in love, Chica. It's about his money. Take his money, Chica. Take his money.
If you have a prenup, it's less work when you do get a divorce because now you have everything pretty much put down for you on how it should be split and everything.
First of all, can we say if you get a divorce now? We're like, we got a 50-50 chance. Like, at least give you the benefit of the doubt.
No, but it's when you get a divorce.
It's when you get married one day, I am in full support of you. I hope you have a happy marriage, a happy life, a happy family, 100%. Now, statistically for everybody else,
no, I know.
Have everything put together and set up.
I hope it don't focus. I hope it doesn't.
I don't know what that says.
What are you showing us?
Divorce rates are 40 to 50% in America right now. So when you get a divorce,
who they surveyed? That shit ain't accurate. They ain't getting enough of the sample size.
Have it lined up and ready for when y'all get a divorce.
But you know what?
I have a prenup.
I feel like for me, because actually Jeannie Mai on The Real talked about this when she was married. She's divorced now, but she was married. She said, like her husband had a lot. She didn't really have that much. He asked her for one. She didn't have no problem. But she was like, I'm grateful because now I'm on The Real. I got all these TV shows. I got something now, so I'm glad I did get a prenup to like. And I feel like a lot of people, the reason why, like, if we were to get married right now, none of us got nothing. There would be no point for a prenup. Now, 10 years from now, when Justin's album goes platinum, and when I have a successful TV show, podcast, production company, and when Darren is a best-selling author, and when Joe's climbing the corporate ladder, we might have something. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
a communication strategy, please put some respect.
Period. So well, there you go. So we don't have anything now, but like 10 years from now, we will. So
right.
So it's not even necessarily for now; it's for later in the future. So I would say agree. Now, Justin, I feel like you'll find this one.
This next one's from me.
Oh, Justin, JoAnn, were you saying something? You disagree with what?
What was it? All couples should get a prenup.
Really?
You disagree?
You don't think so?
Disagree, but that's because it's all in the way you view marriage. You guys view it all as a business transaction. I'm the dumbass that looks at love. I'm like,
I do that's love too. I do that's love too.
But I look at it as I don't need your damn money. I got my money. I got my own, independent. I don't want to have to take something from somebody else. If you don't want me and we get a divorce, that's what it the fuck is, I guess.
Right.
But I don't know. I just don't look at prenups as like being necessary because I trust me and hopefully the person I marry will not be a dumbass and we don't have to deal with no shit.
And that's the point, is that somebody could be very vengeful after the divorce, very spiteful, very mad at the situation, and could come for your money. And I think it's more of a protection thing and less of a when we get divorced. But anyway, when y'all do get divorced,
if I'm not getting married,
give me the benefit of the doubt.
I'm trying to choose the perfect nigga for me.
First off, I already know when JoAnn marries Stacey, that's a forever thing. I can tell you that right now.
I'm in quarantine with her, by the way. I can't get enough for her.
Pero cuando se divorciarán.
I'm not.
Whatever.
But when you get divorced, shut up.
Whatever.
I'm not.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get divorced.
Period.
I wish you forever. And like I said, Erica, I wish you and your future hubby the best. For the rest of y'all, when you get divorced.
Cuando se divorciaron.
Have your ducks in a row.
No me llamo.
Whatever. This next one.
Shut up, cállate.
Yeah.
What? This one, next one. This is what I feel strongly about also. This next one says, you shouldn't share a bank account with the spouse. Absolutely no. You got me messed up, girl. You shouldn't share a bank account with the spouse.
Look, I'm irresponsible with my money. I don't want to be irresponsible with your money too. Please don't put me in that situation.
I just find gonna get my money.
Right.
It would.
Oh, good.
Which one? So for me, we already talked about this. Like when we get married and we have stuff and we have bills and stuff, we gonna have a bill account. She puts her money in, I put my money in. The bill will it'll take it out, and we gonna decide how we gonna split up maintenance fees and shit like that. That's as far as it's gonna go for a split, like a joint banking account.
Absolutely, because
that's smart.
My brain don't work really.
I find it real just unsettling that I work hard, I make my money, I just pull all of my money into this one bank account I share with you. Because I can't. Like, I love you, and I'm in here for the long haul, but I cannot wrap my head around that. I just can't do it. And I feel like I would do what Joe do. Like, we both have our own separate accounts to do whatever we want, but we have a shared account, which, like, if we know our bills are X amount of money a month, we put that much in there for the bills. Everything else is just kind of, what we want to do. But
yeah, the roof is gonna be our light bill, water bill, gas bill, rent bill, mortgage bill, whatever the bill. So
yeah, you got me messed up.
Y'all ever seen them trash ass Tyler Perry films where, like, the dark skinned man leaves the brown skinned lady eventually and, like, cleans out their joint bank account?
Wow, you will never touch me in that situation. No, he left her $87.
Married a mad black woman, right?
Yeah.
She had
Yeah,
money,
that
right?
one.
That was the
He
one
just
that-
put her out. That was sad.
Right.
No, there was another one. There was another one. There was the one. It was Why Did I Get Married? He left her with $87. I remember that. $87. Yeah, Jill Scott was talking about
Oh
left
yeah.
me $87.
She was in that snow line. She said, I have $87 to my name.
Yes, I messed up,
Couldn't be me, bitch. Why you giving him your money?
Couldn't be me.
That was sad though. He was mean to her. He fat shamed her.
All dark-skinned men in Tyler Perry movies are mean.
Yeah.
Did y'all watch
Yeah.
Self-Made, the CJ Walker thing, that series on Netflix?
No,
Not
but
yet.
I didn't hear. I
Blair
heard it wasn't very
Underwood,
good.
I knew when I
Yeah.
saw Blair, he was gonna be bad. I wanted
He's
to
a
be
demon.
highly.
Yeah.
Why is he always mean?
Yeah.
Always.
But yeah, no, you got me messed up. And maybe that's just a sign that I'm not ready to get married yet, because when you are married, apparently, I hear you
I
can't
think
be
it's
selfish.
different. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
What's different?
I don't know. Like, I mean, my parents. No, they're not the. Maybe I shouldn't use this
You
example.
don't even like your dad. What you mean? But go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll get sued if I play that whole song. Maybe I shouldn't use my parents as an example because they are literally imploding in real time. But like, I mean, they have a joint bank account, and I think it works quite well for them.
My
but
parents
I'm like,
too.
My
I don't
parents
know
too.
that I trust another nigga with my money. Like,
I don't, and that's the thing. Maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't get married yet, because I feel like when you get married, you should trust that person. But I
right.
don't know. With everything, my whole check, the whole check.
You got me fucked up.
We're not gonna let no damn marriage quiz dictate to us. What the hell? This ain't even a real question. You're not getting my goddamn funds on.
Ooh.
I don't even like BuzzFeed like that, for real.
Oh my God. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
but you guys need to watch BuzzFeed Unsolved. That is probably my favorite show on there. Very good.
I've seen it on YouTube, but I just haven't watched it.
Love
I
it.
love
They're so good.
Erica,
When
what's
they
your
go to food places.
So I'm gonna ask one more question. This one's actually I don't know. Because I've been thinking about this a lot. The last question is: getting married isn't an accomplishment.
No.
You know? Okay. Well, okay.
What?
Okay. So
It's
here's
not.
the thing. Well, so here's the thing. I feel
That's
like
just something to do.
no, JoAnn. I feel like
It's an event, girl. Yes, an event.
I feel like
Black people were jumping the broom, and white people were like, "Y'all can barely get married."
accomplish what?
Trying to play with
no.
our
So
rights.
no.
I
Listen.
want to get married. I don't feel like it's a big thing.
I feel like people, you were born, you went to school, you got married, you had kids, you died. Basically, in a nutshell, that's what it was. So I feel like a lot of times people have just been conditioned to think of marriage as an accomplishment, or it's just like a stepping stone. Like, okay, I graduated college, I'm gonna go work in my field for a few years. Now it's time to get married. That's like where the biological clock fits in, kind of. Because it's like, okay, I've been doing this for years now. Okay, what's next? Next time to get married. So I feel like a lot of people do view, whether you want to think about it that way or not, you do view marriage as an accomplishment. It's either like a stepping stone or something like that. So, but I feel like you gotta like condition yourself not to think about that, though. I feel like you gotta condition yourself not to think about it that way, because typically, well, not typically, but I feel like in society, it's like, okay, you graduate college when you're 22, you get married when you're 25. You have kids and like it's really like your own time, you know what I'm saying? It's really your own time whenever you want to do. So like you may not graduate college till you're 26, you may not get married till you're 36, and like and that's fine, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you, Erica. But when I think of an accomplishment, I think I just lost 30 pounds, and I think I just graduated from college. Not that I just married the man.
I'm not saying I do it. No, I disagree.
No, I'm on to marry a man. That's not an accomplishment. I paid I paid thousands of dollars to marry a man.
I'm not saying that I view it that way. I'm saying I feel like that's how society has. I'm not saying I view it that way.
Sure.
Yes,
I'm saying that, like, I feel like whether a lot of people want to think about it that way or not, that's how, like, you've been conditioned to think, especially us women. Men, I don't know, but especially us women, we have our biological clocks. We, like I said, you get graduate college when you're 22. Now you get married when you're 25. Like, I think that's just statistically or stereotypically like the path.
I think an accomplishment. Go ahead, Darian.
I was just gonna say, I definitely see it as society putting pressure on women, and that they feel invalid unless they are married or have a family. But that's not what we care about anymore. What I want to get done, like Justin said, is get a degree. I want to live my life, and then I'll think about those other possibilities. Like, your life does not start and end with a marriage.
Getting married, okay, right? And the word accomplishment, as Merriam-Webster.
Okay, I feel like that's a bad word. Honestly,
yeah, but that's the word that we have to use that word because it's in the book.
Yeah.
Thank you. So like me, like an accomplishment is me buying a house.
Yeah.
An accomplishment is me, I don't know, getting A or P. Girl, I don't know. An accomplishment is me getting a GameStop gift card.
Selling albums.
Like,
Yes,
me being bamboozled, number one, into marrying a nigga.
Watch my eyes.
Number one is a mistake, but number two, it's much more of an event. It is something that happened because me signing my name onto a document that says, hey, when we split in 5 years, like everybody else does, you get half my stuff. That's just an event. That's not, you're not accomplishing nothing by getting married, chica. Like, I don't care what them little preachers be saying, marriage under God. Like, none of that mess matters, bro. Like, what did you accomplish? Me accomplishing something right now in 2020 is me relearning how to play the Moonlight Sonata by Ludwig van Beethoven. Like, that is something that is an accomplishment to me.
Accomplishment also requires a goal. And that should not be your goal.
Some people that is a goal. Some people
step
that
into
is
the room, Darian. Step into the room.
It may not be.
Okay. Do y'all remember when we were like 12 and you're like, I'm going to be married by 22 and have kids by 25, and from then me and my husband are going to do this and do that and do that, and I'm over here laughing at myself like, girl. You had that goal before you had any other goal.
Hello.
And why? And it's funny because I've accomplished all the other goals that I set for myself maybe a couple years prior than I did something I thought of when I was 12 years old.
How about you accomplish not being a broke ass nigga first, right? Like,
yeah.
And you can cash out me to get my nails done just because. Then we'll talk about some accomplishments.
Some people that is their goal though. Honestly, some people there is that goal. Like, honestly, some people do have that goal. Like, I want to be married by 25. Some people, like, we have to recognize that, like, as much as we laugh, as much as we don't agree with this, like, this is actually some people's thought process. You know what I mean?
I get it, but that's not how that works. Like, setting yourself a goal to finish school in 4 years is more attainable than getting married when you're 25 because you don't know what's going to happen.
Do you know how easy it is to get married to? Like, you can't set the bar. You can't set the bar any lower than getting married.
Really?
It's the easiest thing to, Erica, me and you could go get married today, G.
Yeah,
you could.
It means nothing. It means nothing at all. I can wake up tomorrow morning and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to go get married.
Yeah.
What? It doesn't
It takes nothing to get a witness. It takes nothing to put on a dress, have a bouquet of flowers.
In 2020, you ain't got to put on a dress. I could put on a pair of Air Force Ones and a do-rag and go to the courthouse.
And get married by Elvis.
Thank you.
In a fake church.
Justin, you could get arrested. You could get arrested and go to jail and still get married.
Thank you. Like, it's just like, I think. And again, I know we're trying to like avoid using the word accomplishment, but this is what is being put in the BuzzFeed quiz, so it's like we have to use it. And it's like, I just think that y'all use that word real loose these days. Like, you didn't accomplish nothing by doing the world's easiest task. Like, it goes breathing, eating, being able to get married. It's so easy.
Wow.
Things that take absolutely no process,
No effort.
no thought process, no
You
effort.
didn't train to get married. You didn't run a 5K every morning to get married. You didn't teach yourself how to play guitar to get married, chica. Like, you just simply did it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
But
fair.
I see what Erica is saying. Like, people have those goals set, but it's so unrealistic. You have no idea at what point in time you're going to get married, and when you're going to break up with someone. If you're going to live that long, you have no idea.
Man, that part. So it's safe to say we all disagree that marriage, or we all agree that marriage is not an accomplishment. We all agree with this.
I'm going to ask really fast, Erica. I saw one on there that I thought was interesting, too. The one that said you shouldn't have your dad walk you down the aisle. Do you remember seeing that one?
Yeah, I did see that one. I would want that, personally. Because I do. The idea of giving somebody away, again, goes back to, like, when we're literal property, so I'm giving you to this family. Right. But I would still want my dad to do that still, just because, like, it's comforting. Like, my dad has been especially my personal relationship with my dad. Like, my dad is awesome. Like, he's been an instrumental part of my life, so I would want that personally. I could see why somebody wouldn't, but again, like we said throughout this whole thing, like, do what you want, do what you want. But I would still want that, so I agree.
Right. I was just curious because I thought that one was interesting.
So, what do you guys think? Because you guys have.
Have you talked to your dad about that though? Like the actual thing? Because my dad never lets me forget that he wants to walk me down the aisle and shit.
That's good though. That's good.
He's gonna be highly disappointed though.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Imagine me getting married to my nigga that I'm dating right now. Like, imagine that I have worms for brains for 10 seconds and, like, am getting married to my man or whatever. Oh. Like, I think my dad would, like, combust if he walked me down the aisle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like,
I was thinking
my dad's homophobia just... Yeah. It wouldn't... My dad's homophobia wouldn't allow him to walk me down the aisle. He would, like, evaporate.
That's how I feel.
I think it would be fun to watch him try, but it's like, now I do think it's cute. Like, I do enjoy seeing dads walk down the aisle. Like, I think it's a really, like, nice gesture of, like, support to both parties involved, and I think it's a really cute, like, thing to do. Especially when the daughter is, like, super close with her dad. Like, it's a really, really nice moment. The dad's been crying all the time. Like, it's really it's one of the moments where you really get to see, like, grown men be, like, super duper vulnerable, and I think it's beautiful.
Right. I do too, but my dad weirded me out when he was like, I want to walk you down so I could look at the person I'm going to hand you over to. Like, he's under the impression that he's been the person to, like, watch over me my entire life, which he has, but he's like, I want somebody to protect you. He has a horrible way with words. Give me over to someone has never sat right with me. I understand what he's
it's like passing over property to a new owner. And
yes. You don't even know he's saying.
And then they always ask, who gives this woman away? And the father has to say, I do.
That has nothing set right with me and my homegirls.
It doesn't. Again, it's like, I want to be in business with Justin, right? I want Justin and us to be tied together. So his daughter's gonna marry my son. So Justin would give away his daughter to me, basically for property. And then now look at that, we're tied together forever. You know what I mean?
Arranged marriage.
Right.
Basically.
A little bit independent-minded because I don't want that shit.
Yeah, me neither. All right, y'all, we're going to move on to our last part of our show, is our obsessions. When about to go first? I can go first if nobody's ready.
Go ahead, Erica.
Okay. So, my obsession, I've been hip to this artist for, like a year now, but, like, I've, like, actually, like, been immersed. So, my obsession this week is the artist by the name of Brent Faiyaz. Honey.
What is it? Say it again.
Brent Faiyaz is how you say his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent Faiyaz. Oh my,
him.
So I was hip, like I was hip to, I like knew a couple songs of his like last year, but he just dropped an album this year. I'm blanking on the title right now, but he just dropped an album this year, and it is,
It's called "Fuck the World."
yes, and it is so good. Like, oh my god, especially Rehab. That, oh my god. So such a good song, and yeah, so that's my obsession. He's just amazing, and he's like an artist. Apparently, my friend was actually mad because she was supposed to go see him in Chicago this year, but of course with COVID. So whenever he reschedules, I might want to go take a trip to see him if anybody's trying to roll with, because
Period. I would go.
I would go too. Let's take a for the record road trip.
That would be
That'd be
so
cute.
fun.
I love
think
it.
we've only ever hung out like a portion of us at a time, and never all of us together.
Except
Yes.
for Friendsgiving that one time.
Yeah,
Right.
we should change that. We gotta change that because we actually are friends. We're friends in real life. Yeah, we're actually friends in real life. Like we gotta change that. As soon as this COVID stuff is over, we gotta do something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's my question.
Like, maybe not our first road trip. Let us actually enjoy that. But I'm thinking, like, if we go on a second road trip, could we get, like, somebody's venue to agree to let us be talking?
Oh, period. A live podcast? That'd be nice.
Yes.
I would love that.
That would be
Joe,
really
what's
cool
your-
if we could, like, document our time there and, like, put it in, like, a little, I guess, like, a documentary. That would be
Right.
cool.
I like that too. That sounds great. What were you asking me?
What's your obsession this week?
Buzz, bitch. Oh, Miss Beyonce on the track. Hey, I'm so happy. My friend, let me tell you the exact second. I saw that Taylor, my best friend of all my best friends, Taylor and Deja, she like tagged me in something on Instagram. I was like, oh, what is this? And then I pulled it up and I was like, Meg Thee Stallion and Beyonce on Savage. I was like, bitch. So I moseyed my little ass over to YouTube, and the girls have done it.
Girl.
Wow. Oh my gosh, so much female empowerment. My brain almost exploded. Like, this
Beyonce was talking her stuff, honey.
Talking her shit. If I don't get a music video, bitch, I'm gonna be upset. Let Miss Rona make her great escape already, because I'm tired. Girls need content, quality content. What are some of these lyrics? I'm going back in our message thread.
She said a lot of things.
She said a lot of stuff.
Chance, Erica, oh my God. She said she might start an OnlyFans. I'm like, bitch.
You know what my favorite line was? That's because I said it.
I imagine her mama trying to type that in, like, what is it, OnlyFans? Oh, Miss Tina. Florentina.
Right.
This is just beautiful. If you don't jump to put your jeans on, you don't feel my pain.
I felt that one personally. I felt that
It's
one.
not a boob reference. I don't get it, but I see people do that. It must be nice.
Yeah,
My
I
girlfriend
did
got mad. She
that.
could play. Oh, and she listened to it with me. Her reaction was just the best, because she looked over like, oh, is that Beyonce? You know, I think she overrated, but ooh, she kind of snaps. I'm like, kind of.
I love rap Beyonce. Like, I really love.
Me too.
Into rap and everything else.
She's such a bird when she raps, and I just love it so much. I'm like, yes, give us Houston Ghetto. Like,
She made it so melodic. It was a part two. That was not the same song.
No,
That was not.
she actually successfully did a remix. Like, so many of you girls get on a remix and just like do the exact same thing. Beyonce was like, no, I'm gonna make it a different song, actually.
We're gonna switch this whole thing up and we're gonna rock your world. Like when she said, okay, I was there. She said
the little okay. I'm just like,
Yes, the harmonies. The harmonies.
everything, girl.
I actually have like yet to listen to it. I got like a snippet whenever I listen to it on Instagram.
Good.
It's
as soon as
incredible.
we're done, go listen to it.
It's
I will.
really,
I'm
really
I'm
good.
actually really interested.
Yeah, go listen.
And it had
It's
the
so
little
good.
equalizer. It had the bees swarming around the stallion. I was like, oh, she protected.
It's cute.
I see what she did there.
Nice.
Now,
It's
Doja
nice.
Cat and Nicki Minaj need to hurry up so that can also be.
Yeah, they were bogus for that. They were
I'm
real
so
bogus for
thirsty
that.
for that song. Oh,
I was like, bitch, what is this snippet? It's Nicki Minaj.
Hey, bogus.
Doja Cat.
they're annoying for
And
that.
that was it. I was like,
They were real bogus for that. They were bogus for that. Definitely.
y'all so rude. Y'all couldn't let Miss Stallion and the Queen have their moment. That's all that was. Well, were they at the same time?
They'll definitely have their moment regardless, though.
Right.
And I can only imagine Megan Thee Stallion being like over the moon.
She
was
her granny for 30 minutes on the phone, like, I was on the song with Beyonce. She was like, Beyonce? Like, ew. She said she couldn't say bitch, so she was like, Beyonce. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I love how like real and down to earth Meg is. So
Yeah.
I'm glad this shit ain't really changed her little ghetto ass. I love her the way she is.
Yes, as a fellow stallion, I approve.
Yeah. But yeah, that's me.
Erica approved.
Yep.
So I guess I'll go next because mine's not that exciting at all. I would say my obsession, and I actually just told JoAnn about this when we were on the phone together the other day. It is Big Little Lies. I'm super late to the party.
To watch it.
Super late because I don't have HBO. Shout out to Justin.
Hey, I was wondering if it was working for you. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. I am on season 2 of Big Little Lies now, and Tyler's been watching some movies. He's like super excited because there's so many movies on there that he's been wanting to watch. We have yet to watch Westworld or Watchmen because we're gonna watch those together. But I want to finish Big Little Lies because like that I have been wanting to watch for so long. But anyway, so it is just like the cinematography is really good. I actually was talking to my roommate about that the other day, and he pointed that out, and I was like, yeah, it's really good. The cast is awesome. It's like Reese Witherspoon, Zoe Kravitz, Nicole Kidman. His other person. Shane. Which I love her because like whenever she was on The Secret Life of the American Teenager, that was when I was in high school. So I'm happy to see that her career has really skyrocketed. And then I can't remember the last woman who plays Renata, but she like plays that character really well. And then Meryl Streep is also on there in season 2. And when I tell y'all, she is very interesting character.
I love Meryl Streep.
Yeah, she's a very good actress because in the show she is like playing an older woman. She's like a grandma and everything, which Meryl Streep probably is in real life, but she has like such grace about her in real life that you would never assume that she is a grandmother. You know what I mean? It has just enough drama to keep you like, entertained. You really can't wait for the next season. I'm really sad though because I think since it is based on a book that they aren't going to make like a 3rd season or anything, so I'm really sad. So I'm trying to cherish it because they're only like 7 episodes long. Yeah, I know. I'm really sad about it. But yeah, that's my obsession right now.
I have 2 quick ones that are like very equally like I've been obsessed about. So during the quarantine, obviously I've been indoors and with nothing to do, in the house, bored in the motherfucking house, bored, like all those things, right? I started watching a show on Hulu. It's not a Hulu original. It's an NBC original that is over now, but Hulu has like the last little bit of it. Oh no, where did I start watching the show? Where did I start watching the show? On Netflix? Somewhere. I don't know.
Right.
Started watching this show called The Good Place.
Oh, that's the show that Kristen loves on the read.
Wait, is it with Kristen? What's her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I started the show on Saturday. I finished the show last night. 4 seasons of television in 4 days.
How many episodes?
I would say 12 per.
Oh, it's healthy.
You got time.
30 minutes to an hour.
I did. It's 30 minutes, and I did do a fair amount of like skipping around because I know with sitcoms, I'm like, I don't need to watch every episode. But I consumed an entire TV show in 4 days. Right, The Good Place. I don't need to. You can go on Wikipedia and Google what it's about. It's a funny show. It's
about people going to hell, right? Or like heaven.
About people dying and going to the afterlife and their like whole struggles, right?
Yeah.
The synopsis of the first season is that this woman dies, she goes to heaven, and then she realizes that she's not supposed to be there.
Ooh,
and it just sort of goes from there, right? So I found the show to be overwhelmingly hilarious. I was like unable to breathe for the majority of the time. I was laughing so hard. What I was not prepared for was last night when the show ended for the 90-minute special or whatever. I was sitting down on this couch right behind me, like weeping, like crying profusely like heave crying about this show. Not only because like the way, you know, shows don't always end well. They don't always have good endings. This one only had a good ending, but because The Good Place tackles so much about the afterlife and about this thing that none of us have any concept of, right? Like it threw me into this great sadness because this show that I really enjoyed was ending, but it also like, it really had me sit down and be like, damn, like I'm kind of scared to die, which is not a thought that I have ever really grappled with ever. Like if you had asked me at any point in time before yesterday, I'd be like, no, I'm not scared to die. Like people die, like it's fine. Like I know things that I'm going to do. But what happens with death is, you know, even if you do subscribe to like a religious, you know, whatever, like, there's still a fair amount of uncertainty in it because like you can believe these things all you want to, but it's like no one really knows what happens until it happens, right? Yes. And so I was blown away at how deep this 30-minute sitcom could be, and how like provocative it could be of like thoughts about things that I know that we all think about on a day-to-day basis. It's just in the back of our heads, right? Kudos to, I don't know who directed the thing. Everybody who acted in it was brilliant. I thought, like I said, it was so funny to me, like hilarious, and it tackled social issues in a way that didn't feel like we're tackling social issues today. Like it, you know, was integrated, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. So that's on the TV side. Last week or week before last, on the music side, I was introduced to a young British and Japanese girl, alternative pop artist by the name Rina Sawayama. My homie who lives in England is always putting me on to like the really interesting stuff, right? So she put out her debut album, Sawayama, which is streaming on all platforms. And if you go on my Facebook, my cover picture right now is the album cover.
I saw that.
That's what that was.
Yes. For those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, every time I change my cover photo on Facebook, it's always just the album that I'm listening to most heavily at the time. I put this album on a couple weeks ago without having any notion of what it was going to sound like. Didn't know Rina Sawayama from A Hole in the Wall. I was like, just like my friend told me to listen to her, I'm going to go ahead. This girl found a way to fuse pop music with early 2000s Destiny's Child era R&B with punk rock, like hard rock guitar music, like head-banging, smashing, like mosh pitting music. And I was like so overstimulated when I cut the first track. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Like there's so much to digest. But she really found such an excellent way to talk about, like, there's a lot of critiques on like capitalism, as it turns out, and just like materialism and like the idea of like togetherness, especially like in the digital age and whatever else, and like her heritage as a Japanese British person, which is like we hardly ever get to hear representation in music from Japanese folks, much less Japanese women. You know what I mean? I know there's this huge J-pop and K-pop movement going on, but we rarely ever get to hear a perspective from a Japanese woman growing up in America, or growing up in Britain rather. It's beautifully constructed, beautifully written. I think pop music got shaken up really, really bad when that album came out, because it's just like it is purposefully defining boundaries, and I just like I don't go a day without thinking about the album or her. Props to you, Rina Sawayama. Like, you have at least one new stand for my black ass in the USA. Like, I am in support of whatever it is that you do now, Chica, and I am like on that boat 10,000%. Good job, Rina. Oh my God.
Period. Well, that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Whoever's watching this on the YouTube. I saw our one professor just did the YouTube.
The YouTube.
Yeah. Whatever. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in. You can follow me. First of all, follow us on Instagram at For the Record Podcast, FOUR. Follow us on Twitter for the Rec Pod, again, FOUR. You can follow me on my socials, on Instagram at Erica D. Green, and then Twitter at I'm Erica Danielle. Justin, where can they find you on your socials?
You can find me plugged into the Matrix at Chaotic Black Boy, anywhere in the Matrix.
Period. Darren?
You can find me at DAIRR __ on Instagram. And then I guess follow me on Twitter. LightbrightBS is my handle.
Period. Joe, where can they find you?
You can follow me at I am Joe Denise. That is JO Denise. Have fun with it. I'm going to have more content eventually.
Period. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been real. We'll be back next week doing the Zoom thing. This has been pretty good. So, yeah, I think we're going to be on Zoom. I think this is the new move.